Guys, welcome back to episode 4. Super excited about this episode 2. I'm here with Jonny Troyer, great friend of mine.
Hi guys.
And thanks for being on, Jonny. This is exciting. We're excited to have you on.
Yeah, excited.
We're gonna kind of stick near a theme of loving everyone equally, and kind of like how to do that. What does that look like? And is it even possible? Would be kind of where we're going to go, so we'll see how it goes. Yeah. So, thanks again for being on and stuff, Jonny. This is exciting.
Yeah.
I had a question that I was wanting to ask, and this is one I was the main one I was going to ask, where it was really probably go into some more of a deeper topic and stuff. But I want to kind of first ask, what does loving everyone even look like, and then how does that affect marriage? How does it affect singleness? How does that even affect your wife when you're married or whatever? Obviously there probably be I don't know how many single people versus married people are watching or anything like that, but I figured we kind of could go through those questions and try to figure it out. Obviously I'm single, I don't know what that looks like for being married or whatever and stuff and stuff like that, but so if you want to start either by figuring out, looking at what does it even look like? Because I always grew up being told, oh, well, just treat them like your best friend, or just just kind of like there was never really a really good there was never a conversation about oh, this is how you love everyone, or this is how you do it. It's just it was just kind of left to you to try and figure it out. So I never really figured it out probably ever, to be honest. So
no, I think you do that very well. I would not say that you've never figured it out. I think it's something that you have to learn, but it starts with being aware, self-awareness in a lot of ways, aware of how you present yourself. And as you grow up, you don't start with that. As a kid, you don't start with self-awareness, how you treat others. It's all about me. And learning to love everybody, and that's just a journey for all of us to be on. I think, once we get aware of ourselves and we're like, oh, we're actually not the only person on this planet, and everybody around me is just kind of like me. Everybody needs something. Everybody's after something. Everybody wants to be accepted, wants to be cared for. We all want to be loved, and it does look different for each person. I think different people feel loved in different ways, yes, but we all want it. We all need to be accepted. We need to be loved. So those are huge questions, because how does that affect? That affects everything. Everything about the world. That's the problem with the world. Is not consistent love. Is not unconditional love. So I think there's just the word love can be mistaken for what our culture says love is. Real love is really not conditional. It's unconditional. And I mean that's love we can only experience. I think God does it best, but as we experience it from others, we can also give it.
Right.
It's one of those things that is almost impossible to give unless you've received it. I say almost. I don't know if it is or not, but I know for me, I don't know how I could give something that I hadn't first received. Because even now, as a believer, I just feel sometimes there's so much pain and so much hurt around me that people are filling me in on, and that I hear and that I feel, that I just kind of fill up, and I feel a little overwhelmed and can't take any more pain of other people. And even now with social media and all the news and stuff, there's more than ever. We have access to so much pain and suffering that it's overwhelming in a lot of ways. So I say, first of all, we have to be connected to that source of unconditional love, and because we can't give something we're not receiving. As a person for ourselves,
I like that you're drawing out that we can't receive it, and we can't give it if we've never received it, because I think that's something that a lot of people are like, well, I'm a good person, I do this and I do that, and I'm not gonna say, even if here there's a culture of almost everyone goes to church on Sunday or Wednesday or whatever. Everyone's almost always at church on Sunday. It's like a tradition kind of thing, more so than an actual like desire to go or anything. And so it's kind of like, well, I'm a good person, I do this, I do that. But it's like, if you've never, like, if all you get is love that's of this world or in this world, then that's the only thing you can ever give, which is always always expecting something in return.
Yeah.
Always wanting something in return, whether it's you know marriage or sex or whatever. You're always wanting something in return. Kind of thing where you're like, well, if I treat this person nice enough, maybe at some point later on, the other side they want to marry me, and then we'll just tie ourselves together. And then from there, it's like, well, I'm working a job, so I expect this and that from this person. So, well, you know.
Yeah, it's
that too. Huh?
It's so natural to not be able to give without expecting something in return. And my wife just asked me that question earlier today. I was like, why do people not really like this person? And I had to think about it. I was like, yeah, maybe that person's a little bit overbearing, but I know some more overbearing people that have friends. But it seems like this person in his situation, it was because he had nothing to give anybody. Nobody wanted what he had. Right. So it wasn't like he had, you know, he didn't have any eligible sisters. You see that all the time. Guys are friends with this guy, but he's buddying up to the dude because he's got cute sisters. And it's like always something to where you're like, this isn't consistent.
Right.
This isn't real love. This is some kind of exchange. This is a trade. And real love is unconditional, and it doesn't. The conditions aren't. He has something for me, or she has something for me, so then I'll be friends.
Yeah, and a lot of times, it's kind of that. Especially if you're like, well, this person's got sisters or whatever, and you're trying to like, you know, be good friends with, buddy up with this dude, and then once you get married, you kind of still buddies, but you're not really the same buddy kind of thing, and it's like, well, what was that even all about, kind of thing, like, cool, I guess you're my best friend, but like, I don't really talk to you much anymore, kind of thing.
And it's just a big part of the pain of the world too. We experience that kind of love, so it's so easy just to pass it on. Well, that person really doesn't, there's nothing left there for me. Why would I pursue that relationship? Why would I do something nice for that person? It's just transactional. And the real love is going to be something that you can give to a small child that's not particularly cute even maybe, and maybe not a desirable kid, but it's something you can take time for because they're a human being. They're a person that God died for, and that God has a purpose for.
Someone that has nothing to offer you, and you're not, or even someone that could have so much to offer, but you don't expect anything, freely give. That's really good. I really like that.
Yeah, and I think it's impacted. I think that's one of the things that my mom taught me that impacted me hugely. Was my mom's a very friendly person. And she would always say, be friendly to everybody. Be equally friendly. Don't just snob the girls. Right. You got to be nice to the girls, but you want to give them equal attention. Because as soon as you don't, you're going to be labeled a player. You're going to be all this stuff that nobody wants on their record, especially as a young person. You don't want that on your record when you're on the market.
Right.
Did I answer that question?
No, I say you did. I say,
which ones was I covering?
we were kind of talking about what does it even look like to what everyone was saying. And you were saying, I really do like that you were talking about how your mom was saying, just be nice, treat everyone with the same amount of niceness. Doesn't matter if it's the most beautiful girl you've ever seen versus the girl that you're like, I don't really want to talk to her. You know, just whatever, treat them all the same anyways. Treat them all across the board. Therefore, like you were saying, no one's going to be like, oh, this guy's a player. He's just treating the nice girl, the good-looking girls this way. And then when the other girls come around, he's like, nah, whatever, don't even talk to the girls or whatever. You know, like too good for him and stuff. I really like that. So how did that and how does that affect singleness? I guess more specifically, your singleness when you were single. with all your friends that you're around and your buddies and stuff, like, was it kind of like, oh, Johnny's just trying to be really nice to everyone, was it like, hey, I respect that, Johnny's trying to be nice to everyone, or was it kind of like, that's a little bit strange that he's, talking to, all these girls and stuff, or, like, how did you see it?
As a very self-conscious person, I was still not as friendly. Like, I wish I was more, but I wasn't that brave. Like, as a very self-conscious person, I wasn't brave enough to, like, always, make all the girls feel at home. But at the same time, it was what I wanted to do, and I wanted to be nice to everybody. But obviously, you're going to feel more comfortable with the guys, and it's going to be easier to love the guys. Like, and obviously, I think it goes deeper than just how everything looks and your reputation, what you want to be seen as, because and I guess just to be very, very vulnerable, guys struggle with lust, and that doesn't go away when you're married. That doesn't go away when you find the perfect human.
Right. No, it doesn't.
And to learn to love, I feel like, is the only antidote for the sex drive, the desire for females that guys have.
Yeah. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I've been listening to some podcasts more recently that it was talking about men who just want to devour women versus men that truly actually just appreciate them as a person.
Yeah.
And, like, whether or not you can still see that they're beautiful and be like, wow, that's a very beautiful person.
Yeah.
But not devour them, being like, man, I really want to be with that person or whatever. Regardless if you're in a relationship or not, but just truly looking at it and be like, yeah, that is a beautiful person. And I really appreciate, that's really cool that God created them to look like that. Yeah. But also, we don't say the same thing about anyone else, too. Where you look at anyone else, you're like, yeah, that's also that's a really beautiful person. So I really like that, because I think that, like, that's something that growing up, it was still kind of that thing where, it was like you kind of figure it out, really. I mean, I don't know, I haven't really.
Yeah.
I mean, I was homeschooled and stuff, so I was around my siblings and stuff for the most part of my whole life and stuff. But at the same time, I didn't start understanding the idea of, like, not just devouring women for your own pleasure, but truly just, like, being able to say they're beautiful and being able to still admire that beauty without devouring that beauty.
It's very good. Yeah. Yeah, because I think it's not helpful for a culture to just either ignore the beauty of women, like a lot of our more conservative groups would try to cover it up. And that's the problem. It's the beauty that is being displayed. So we got to get it covered up. We got to make sure nobody can see it, and that's the problem. Well, guess what? That's not the problem, because the problem's in the dude's head.
Yeah.
So we've got to stop trying to cover the beauty, because that's really what it is, and we can't say it's not beauty. We can't say it's bad,
right?
Because God made girls beautiful, and that's amazing, right? So, but yeah, as a man to look past, physical appearance, because that's a very,
yeah.
What one person thinks is beautiful, the other person does not, and it's I don't know what the word is for it, but it's very vague and very.
Yeah, the idea of, like, beauty is in the eye of the whole thing.
It truly is. It truly is, and how many girls have you thought were cute, and then the first words you hear coming out of their mouth, and you're like, oh, that's not actually a really beautiful lady.
Oh, okay.
It's like, oh, I can't stand that voice, or oh, I can't stand just the aura coming off that person.
Yeah.
But it's just like, yeah, beauty is so subjective, and it's, but we can't just say no, girls aren't beautiful. and try to just divert the eyes like we've been taught in our culture.
Cover it all up and stuff. Yeah.
Because we should be able to love somebody that's, not dressed perfectly. We know Jesus did it. And Jesus is a perfect example that, we can love those people and to look past the body and look into the image of God that they contain. And be like, wow, this person is in the image of God. And every person, we all go through these body change. Like as we get older, we're just not going to be the most beautiful person that ever,
Oh, yeah.
We all change. So we have got to fall in love with the beauty of the inner person. Because, the body changes. And it's, like we say, beauty is subjective.
Yeah.
So we've got to realize that sometimes lust is just lust. And it's deceitful. And if we can't look past the body and still love a person, we're not really seeing all that God has made and the picture that marriage is as God being the groom and as us His people being the bride. Like we're not understanding that, because as the bride of Christ, we're not just a form.
Right.
We're not just a figure. Like
right.
there's emotional depth and there's care. There's so many things about the images of God, the choices we make, the story we have, that makes us so much more. Like if we could just stop sometimes and say, I wonder what that person's story is. I wonder what makes that person who they are, instead of just devouring that person's body. So it's a huge. I say it's the antidote for lust. Is this whole journey that I don't know how long I've been on, but just as a teenager, like, how do I not objectify a girl? How do I truly see God's image in that person? So it's not just, it's not just about love. It's also about how to counteract lust. And for single guys and girls, that's a big deal.
Yeah, it's kind of cool to know that love is the answer for pretty much everything, really. I mean, as far as I know, everything. And it's even like with combating lust or like any kind of addiction, whether it's to porn or pornography or anything like that. Like the truth is, you might get over it for 6-7 months when you first get married, or if you don't get over it, or say if you do, you think you get over it and you get married, then all you start doing in your relationship is you're just devouring your wife. You're never actually loving her. You're just taking, just devouring her, and then that's what probably leads to a lot of like divorce and then other issues where everyone's just they're expecting so much out of everyone, and then there's like you're not giving anything because all you know is what like you looking through life through like a pornified lens. Where everything you see is just devour. This is how it's all supposed to be. You just devour everything, even though that's entirely not true at all. Yeah. With all that, God bless all you. God loves y'all. Have a great rest of your week, everybody. Thanks for everyone who watched all this or listened to it all or whatever.
You made it to the end. Congratulations.
Yes, thanks. Thanks. That's pretty incredible and stuff. So God bless y'all.